7:04, and after the Pledge of Allegiance, we stand for a moment of silence, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can have a moment of silence for Dennis Miller, who was a former police officer, and Colleen Fries. Teresa.
I'm sad to report that Colleen passed away in the last 2 weeks. If you're not familiar with Colleen Fries, she was town council back for Paul Roy. She also, when my father passed, she was able to be appointed to fill his role on the police commissioners. I've known Colleen since I got involved in politics at the Seymour Democratic Town Committee. She was always a good, strong friend for me. When Seymour Pink was talking about they needed some legal counsel, I mentioned Colleen's name, and Colleen left as being the vice chairman of Seymour Pink. She was very active in the organization. She's going to be dearly missed by this town, so we could just have a moment of silence. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We will now open the floor to public comment. Anybody wishing for a public comment? Anybody wishing to say public comment, please state your name and address for the record. Any public comment? Public comment going twice? Public comment going 3 times? No public comment. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the December 2023 regular meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Pat, second by Al Bruno. Discussion?
If I may, I just had a couple of comments from people that watched the videos, live streaming it. They said, I know I'm really one of the worst with paper shuffling here, but they said with our mics, that picks up a lot of it. So I don't know if we can maybe not have our mics on the whole time, or how we can remedy it, but it was an issue brought forward. I just wanted to share that.
Sure, we can just, when we go to speak, we can have our mics on, or just we lift them up a little and this way it won't catch it. Okay?
I had a comment one day that I breathed too loud, so, to your point.
Okay.
I had a cold, what can you say?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Can I have a motion to remove the report from the Bungay School Facility Needs Study Committee up to item number 5, replacing appointments, and moving appointments to item number 6?
So
Motion by Al, second by Bob Finley. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Hello.
Hi.
That's you guys. Everybody has a
So I am Rebecca Bennett. I'm the head nurse for the Seymour School District. I'm also the nurse for Bungay Schools. This is.
Tim Connors, Facilities Director of Town of Seymour, Board of Ed.
So thank you. We wanted to thank the committee that we were on. It was a wonderful committee, and we'll go through. We also want to thank you guys for taking the time tonight to hear us, so we appreciate that. This is something we're very passionate about. Our school currently, this is a Bungay school. This is some photos of current, but the last renovation we had, which was 1996, the first grade wing. Our current principal is Miss Lauren Reed, who's here with us tonight, and our assistant principal is Mrs. Stacy Long. Dr. Compton, who's also with us tonight, is our superintendent of schools, and then we have Mrs. Feige, our director of curriculum. Oh, I got it, yes. The faculty and staff of Bungay School are committed to providing a respectful and engaging learning environment where all students are expected to achieve their maximum potential and become lifelong learners. Part of Bungay School, we take this very serious. Our motto is caring, which stands for courteous, achieving, responsible, interested, neighborly, growing. And this is something we actually repeat and discuss every morning with the kids. This is something that we want them to reflect on, and they do. Our children are our future, and that's a really big deal. I was born and raised here in Seymour. I went to Bungay School, so it means a lot. We know that moving forward, these kids, what we put into them is a lot of what we're going to get back. Bungay School is the basic foundation of knowledge being imparted to our children. Our school provides the opportunity for children to acquire knowledge, in various fields of education such as people, literature, history, mathematics, politics, and numerous subjects which are provided. As parents, educators, we all want our students to be successful, but how success manifests itself is different in every child and as the individuality themselves. Part of the success of each child is an environment in which they spend a large part of their day, which is obviously what we're here to talk to you about today. I apologize, we will acknowledge our board members. I don't know if we missed that slide, but we will acknowledge all of them at the end so that you
If
can
I
see.
may, as the chairperson, I'd like to do that later.
Okay, yep, that's what we're saying, great, thank you. It works out then. So why is the school building facility and environment important? The physical environment of a school building plays a crucial role in shaping both student learning outcomes, the overall student climate, and safety. A well-designed and conducive facility fosters a positive atmosphere, promoting engagement and collaboration among our students. Adequate lighting, comfortable classrooms, modern amenities contribute to a supportive learning environment, enhancing the overall educational experience. Additionally, a thoughtfully planned school facility can positively impact the school's culture, encouraging a sense of community and pride among students, staff, and stakeholders. In contrast, inadequacies in the physical space may hinder learning and diminish the overall sense of well-being, highlighting the importance of investing in a conducive school infrastructure for optimal educational outcomes. I know it's a lot of words, I apologize, but they are important in what we're presenting. Bungay School was actually built in 1954. In 1971, we did an addition, which was our library area, which you'll see some pictures of. And our last, anything that we did to Bungay School, any renovation or improvement, was in 1996, and we added a first grade wing. So a lot of our building is from 1954. Our bathrooms, our flooring, a lot of what you'll see in the pictures is what we had when it was built. We love our school, just needs a little modernization. We also thought it was important to see some of the other schools when they were rebuilt. So Seymour Middle School, beautiful school, was built in 2001, and they did a great job with that. Seymour High School, 2005, and then expanded and renovated, so they added on. And Chatfield Lepresti School was in 2012, were expanded and renovated. They were another great job. Investing in our schools and children is an investment in our community's future, just like we had mentioned before. As the future leaders and contributors to our town, the educational and well-being of our children are pivotal in shaping the growth and prosperity of our community. By providing them with quality education, we are fostering a foundation for success and ensuring a brighter future for our town. The development of our youth is integral to sustain growth and the vitality of our community. The Facility Needs Committee, which we'll introduce after, comprised of staff, the public, unanimously agrees that the current Bungay School facility is inadequate. Comprehensive findings indicate urgent updates are essential to address safety, structural maintenance, and instructional needs. Recognizing the impact on the students, the school, and the broader community, there's a collective call for necessary improvements to ensure secure, efficient, and conducive learning environment for all. We can't emphasize this enough. So, with our committee findings, we actually spent a lot of time meeting. We got together at Bungay School. All our meetings were held at Bungay School. We actually walked around as a group and toured the building so that everybody was familiar for people who haven't been there in a while. And what we did was, Mr. Stanek gave us homework, and we had to write down everything that we thought was the most essential updates that were needed. With that, we created this list, which I think is really imperative in the most important changes that need to occur. We need an update and upgrade in the electrical systems. Our electrical system is pretty much...
Yeah, it's the existing system. Again, all these items that are on there right now, they're all in this, they're all things that need to be done within the school. I mean, you have it in front of you also. It's just the basic upgrades that we need. The school itself is in okay shape. We do what we can with what we do have. Again, we cut our budget every year for our maintenance end of it, so we keep the school as tight as we could. You're going to see, the next slides are going to come up, you see a bunch of pictures of items that need to be done. And again, we're trying to put money back into the school right now, but we're at the point where we need to do something soon.
Band-Aids
So,
aren't sticking.
Yeah, and again, we're putting good money after bad on certain items. So it's just, the overall project itself needs, again, the basics of the windows, the HVAC, the electrical, everything to bring it to, code compliance standards of today. And, it's just those small items, which are big items, make a big impact on the whole school. So,
And to highlight just a few of them, like he said, upgrades to the HVAC system. As you know, and we heard a lot last year, that we had some really, really hot days. And as the head nurse, I could tell you, we were monitoring temperatures in every classroom for hours. We did have to call half days because by 11 o'clock, some of our rooms were at 88 degrees. Now, we moved kids around the best we could because we didn't want to have to do that and call half days. But with the window units, and when we started adding other classes to those, we couldn't handle it. They were like, window units were dying one a day.
but
We
there's
were
only
having
so
to
much you can
replace
do
them.
with that.
Right.
With the temperatures also, there's a state mandate
Yes.
of what the temperature needs to be. And our reason is, a lot of people say, back when I was in
Yes.
school, we didn't have air conditioning, it is different now. There's state standards we need to follow, and at certain days, we have to dismiss school.
And that comment, it gets me too, because in the American Academy of Pediatric addresses that and says, nowadays kids come from an air-conditioned home. They come from air-conditioned stores. So when we talk about back in the day, we didn't have air conditioning in our house. But now the relevance of asthma is very relevant and out there. So you can't just take a kid from an air-conditioned home and stick them in an 88-degree room and think that there won't be problems. So the state guidelines and the State Department of Education says that 78, 80 is like a cutoff. So that's why it's so important that, HVAC, that we get that air in there, because to me, when I'm in an 88-degree room, I want to take a nap, right? So who's going to virtually benefit from learning in those temperatures? Our doors need to be replaced, bathrooms. A big thing is that we have kindergarten, and the whole kindergarten wing, each kindergarten classroom only has one bathroom. And now these are our students who are probably just learning to be potty trained right before they come to school, and now they have access to one toilet where they all have to wait or take turns, or, we bring them to a different end in the building to go in the bigger kids' bathroom, but that's all that's down that end.
Right. And again, with the bathrooms, they're, how do you put it in this way? It's like, they're in great shape, like your grandmother's house. It's still original, that's what it looks like, so, but it's in, we do what we can with what we have.
Cubbier storage, we absolutely have no storage at this point. We've used closets for, we use them for conference rooms, so we really don't have a lot of storage at this point. Even for the kids' cubbies, and we'll show you some pictures. Upgrading technology and Wi-Fi, that goes with electrical storage. The nurse's office to a private area, so when we write that there, my office, and don't get me wrong, I love my office, I always show it off. I try to make it very tranquil, but it's one open room. So the problem is if you go to call a parent, and I have 4 looking at me, and I'm talking to a parent about a student having lice, they all think that they have lice, and I'm talking to their parent. There's no privacy, and I could try to have them leave, but then 4 more will come in, or 4 come the other way. So it's just very hard to have that private conversation with a parent when you have this right in front of you. Expanding our media center layout, which goes along with STEM labs. That's what kids are doing right now. That's what schools are doing. That's what Seymour needs to do. We need to get where everybody else is and make that happen. Additional areas for staff to meet with students. Right now, one of our rooms, and we showed it in the tour, we have a room where it's a sensory room, it's a special ed room, it's an OT room, and it's a regular classroom. Because we need to share the space, we have all these multiple things in there. So imagine receiving special education while kids are taking a sensory break, on a jumping little trampoline or whatever. It becomes very distracting. Covered waiting areas outside. So we greet all our students when they come in the morning. It's a really nice way we feel to start the day. So we open the door so the parents don't have to. If they're in a car seat, we get them out. The problem is when it's raining or snowing, there's no covered protection for staff or the students.
Yeah, and the reason for doing that also is because, as most people know, it's backed up on Bungay Road. So as a staff, they try to help move it along as quickly as possible. Officer Ron, he's great with directing traffic. That leads us into the parking lot and the parking lot area. It's not a well-designed area because there's more people dropping off now than there were, 5-10 years ago. So that makes a big difference.
It's true, our lines go up and down Bungay. We try to keep it moving, but then the buses, we have to stop traffic because they come in and leave in that same area. We're the only one school right now that has that shared,
Correct.
entrance, exit. The SEL needs of students and staff that are impacted by the facility infrastructure, and the introduction of plan tree approach to student-centered learning care. And that's something you will be hearing a lot about more down the road. So this is where Tim and I decided that those of you who haven't been at Bungay in a while, or you don't have students there, we would give you a good visualization of some of the things that we're talking about. So our car and bus entrance, as you see, all the cars line up here and they get dropped off, but the buses are leaving at the same time, or they're stuck on Bungay Road trying to get in, so we're stopping traffic for them to go around. But it's dangerous because kids are walking. Some, parents are walking, kids are walking, staff are walking. We currently have tried to move, they actually started an incentive program, Mrs. Long and Mrs. Reed, where we get staff to park in the back of the building so that we have more parking in the front, especially now that we get home preschool, because we have preschool half day, so a lot of parents need to come pick them up halfway through the day or at later times, and if they can't find parking spots to get their kids, so we do designate spots for them. But staff have been great, even with the parking lot needing some help. Most of our staff does try to park in the back. So I think we guys get that with the flow of traffic. Our windows are basically, the wood is rotting from the outside. They're the original windows. This is actually funny. This is my office, and I put pool noodles in there because if they plow or it rains, it all comes right in. All the dirt, all the, the rocks that they put in, it comes into the bottom, and this helps hold the heat. We keep the blinds down, but.
The original windows from,
1954.
yeah. So single pane glass, the wicked window, we replace it, there's only so much we could do with them.
Yeah, and some of them, this one has a crack, it's hard to see, but. This is our heating system in the basement.
Yeah. Well, the controls for the heating system is controlled by air. So we have the compressors that run the controllers, which it's an integrated system like we had over at Citizens also, which we upgraded.
So the flooring, also part of the original flooring. If you walk, this is duct tape in the hallways.
There's some other rooms that we have to do that, because again, every year we do like 7 rooms a year. Again, we just keep trying to stay on top. With our limited budget of repairs, we try to save our money for the end of the year and do what we can for each site. I think last year we did 6 rooms. So it's just a constant upkeep. That's what it is.
Yeah, these are our hallways. Like I said, it just shows the cracks, and right now, this is the hallway outside the cafeteria first grade area, where those tiles start to rise. This is what we were talking about with the parking lots, if you see. And again, we've had them repaired, the town comes out, but it's these same areas that they're big gullies. People,
Public Works
complain,
takes care
driving
of
their
it for us.
cars, their tires.
Yeah.
There's a lot of damage in the back, and it's a lot of rocks. But this is the only area that we have for staff to park right now. So they're lining along here, sometimes they're parking along here, but if you could see in these pictures, it's not.
Yeah, we constantly patch. Again, the whole parking lot needs to be redone, but we call Public Works, they make a patch for us. They plow it, it comes up, so it's always a constant battle.
This is actually our preschool. So this is the area in the building where we have our preschool. We did the best we can. We, put a fence up and we put a little playground in the back area, kind of where we park. It works, and it's not the most ideal, but it works and they love it, and that's what the kids know. So, another thing that's concerning, especially for me, I've thought about this many times, even with my son when he went to Bungay School, is that our playground area is right open to the woods. So I feel like that's just an open target. There are these kids playing, and somebody, I know it's awful to think like this, but in the world we live in now, unfortunately, we have to. And it would be really easy to, grab someone, or the other thing is it's not shaded. So, it's a warm day, they go out and play, next thing you know, I have 5 kids with burns from the slides. Because you don't realize, and it doesn't seem actually that even hot out, but those slides, because there's no shade anywhere in the playground area, they get burned.
Heat up fast, yep.
Yeah, so that's one of the concerns, is that, I know Chatfield School, how they had it was a wonderful idea. They actually built a playground area in the center of their building, so nobody can go and grab a kid or do anything, because it's completely in the center of the Chatfield building. And it is shaded, so I think that's such a wonderful concept, and I think in 2023, that's something we have to think about, unfortunately, now that we need to move towards. 24, I know, it is 24, I forgot about that. It happened so fast, thank you. No, that's good. I'm glad you did. So when we talked about bathrooms, these are our bathrooms. The original bathrooms, you know, the ADA standards, we're not
Every time you
really.
have to agree off ADA standards. Right now, again, they're original, they're clean, they're not the prettiest thing, but they are what they are. That's what we deal with.
Yeah. So this is an example of kindergarten, because this is their one bathroom, which we thought was important for you to see, the one bathroom that they all use in kindergarten. And this is storage, because right now, these are their cubbies where they put the stuff on the bottom. But as you can see, the teachers have really no storage area, or we don't have a generalized area to put all our supplies, so the cubbies ended up being storage area, which is really hard, you know, because when you're a teacher, you have a lot of supplies for the school year, and you need a good spot where you can go grab what you need. Again, not all complaints. We love Bungay School. The culture there is like no other. I can tell you, we go to school happy every day, but these are things that I definitely think are important that are going to make a difference with our students in the future. Our cafeteria. So our cafeteria is a good size. We have the round tables. The problem is it's right in the front of the building. So these are big original windows. There's no tinting. So, you know, with the concerns in the world today, we feel like that area is right there is like a sitting duck. With the blinds and all. So we would like it where it's not parents pulling the parking lot, and, you know, sometimes they're looking for their kids in lunch. And we get that, you know, they want to check on them, but we just feel like the setup and the location may not be the best. Classroom and staff workplaces. So this is something we talked about before, how because of limited space, right now we have, this is special ed, OTPT, and this is the sensory area where they take sensory breaks. So you could be having, you know, our Mrs. Weaver here or Mrs. Stanek working with their group here, and they may be taking their sensory break because that's the only spot we have right there. You know, we try to be cognizant of what's going on at that time, but we have a lot of social emotional students right now, especially since COVID, who need those breaks.
Bob, those spiders, thank you.
You see, we put them in reviews. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions as we go, please don't hesitate to ask. Our unified art space, so this is our gymnasium. This is something else too that we talk about. The floor there could be a little tricky when it gets really hot, like we talked about those days that we had to call half days. It becomes an ice skating rink. The floor, literally, you can slide on it. A few of us staff members have fallen on it a couple times because it gets slippery. But it is, you know, that's just what happens with the humidity. We also would like to, there's no bleachers or anything in there for parents. When they come to utilize the gym, we put some seats up on the stage. But, you know, we don't have, like Chatfield has, not a lot because it's an it's an elementary setting. So they tend not to give you the big grand bleachers like high school setting or middle school setting, but they do have some bleachers along the side so parents can sit and watch their students. In our unified art space, this is our library, and this is where we talk about the limited space, the limited capacity. We do have this cubby area in the back that students love. It's a great area for them to read. They kind of sit up there, but we need more room. When we talk about STEM labs and introducing all these other modernization things that are coming into education, there's no way that we could do that. And there's no reason we shouldn't be doing that. So it's just a matter of space here, as you can see. Again, this is showing you storage. So this is the limited storage that we have in the basement. And then again, this is the kindergarten area. I don't think we have any, maybe we have one closet at this point, right? One or two that we're using? Yeah. So we've actually, like I told you, we've turned, Mr. Stanek loves it, but we turned one of our conference rooms into one of our closets into a conference room, right? That's your favorite room?
Yes.
I'm just kidding, he doesn't like it. It doesn't have a window. It doesn't have a window, he doesn't like it. So this is the staff common area, and this is hard too because a lot of times this is the only staff area there is. There's one bathroom in there, which a lot of times bus drivers come in and use or whatever. I was counting the other day for all the staff in the building, we have I think it was four stalls or bathrooms that are for staff. If we have over 30 staff members or more, I forget the number in our building, so that's another issue too. But this is our staff common area. This is the only area, again, you can see we've got the floor taped down in multiple spots. We've tried upgrading the furniture. The PTA's been wonderful with that, with helping us get some new chairs and stuff, but and the blinds, all the blinds are original too, so this is an example of one of our window units. It doesn't, I don't know if that works right now. I
Yeah,
don't think so.
that's
Right?
that one.
So at this point, we hope we showed you the main areas that we talked about when we previously discussed what we all wrote down as our main concerns. And we can answer any questions that you have in regards to why we think it's so important right now to come to you to emphasize that these changes need to be made.
Thank you. Any selectmen comments, questions, comments?
Did you want to introduce?
You want to
Yes.
do that first? Okay.
I think Dr. Condon and Mrs. Reed might like to make a few comments with regard to the presentation, if that's okay with the first selectman.
I'd like to start first.
We'll read the mic.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to start with Mrs. Lauren Reed. She'd like to just do some closing comments, and I just have something, one or two sentences to say in the end.
So Bungay School is a really great place to be. Our students, our staff, our community, we have a wonderful culture that fosters learning for all the students and really centers our, all of our thoughts around student and their achievement and their well-being and our community as a whole. So really, as our children, our students are our future, we're asking you to listen to this presentation and think about how we can make the next steps and really bring Bungay School to the next level. What are the needs and how the physical environment really does affect the students. It affects the culture, it affects their achievement, they're able to access their education at different levels. So we're just asking that you consider this. We're welcoming you into the school to take a tour or to visit and to really think about how we can best meet the needs of all of our students and really bring our learning and our achievement to the next level.
I'd also like to say a special thank you to Mary Sue Feige and Mrs. Long as well. Mary Sue Feige was principal at Bungay for 15 years and also previous years as assistant principal. I tonight would like to say a special thank you to the Facility Needs Study Committee. I know Mr. Stanek will recognize these committee members, but I would like to say a big thank you to you, First Select Woman, and Marie for appointing and having this committee set up. I'd just like to close up and say, this is a time, folks. The last renovation was in 1996. Let this be the new chapter of life for Bungay Elementary School. Been in the business 40-some years, and I can tell you, as Mrs. Reed just expressed, this school has culture and climate that is just outstanding. It's like no other, and I do tell the other three schools that. The culture and climate, once you've been at Bungay, you don't want to leave Bungay. And I felt that the very first time one school started, and I came here in 2021. But I am telling you, when you look at the other three schools and what has been done, and thank you to this town, and to Board of Ed, and to your select persons as well, what has happened over the years. 2012 was one of the most gorgeous renovations and additions to Chatfield that I've seen. And I've been around a lot of schools and participated in helping the committees and as a superintendent helping work with architects and building schools. But that design was off the charts. So I want to say that. Also going back to 2001 with the middle school. You have a state-of-the-art middle school. You couldn't build it today. Think what the price tag would be. Back to 2005 with the renovation and the addition with Seymour High School. So I'm begging you, please, let's move forward. First Select Woman, let this be your legacy, our legacy. Let's make a difference. Let's renovate. Let's do a small addition. Let's do something for this school. But be very proud. I'm just proud to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam First Select Woman.
You're welcome.
I have the honor of being a member of this board, as well as having served as chairman of the Bungay School Facility Needs Study Committee. We met 5 times since May, and we came to our conclusions tonight. In addition to the PowerPoint presentation, the Board of Selectmen have been presented with a written report. If anyone would like a copy of that report from the public, that's available. The committee met, as I said, 5 times, beginning on June 14th and concluding its duties on December 14th. And the committee members are, or were, as follows. Trish Danka from the Board of Selectmen, since our municipal finance wizard. Timothy Connors, our facilities director, who's just an outstanding contributor, was an outstanding contributor to the committee. Ed Stramello from the Board of Education has a lot to offer, having once served as principal of Bungay School. Peter Kubik, who has a legacy with regard to building projects, has been on every building committee since the Bungay School renovation in 1994 to 1996, and he's interested in serving on the building committee as well as others. Becky Bennett, who we heard from this evening, who is our outstanding head nurse in the school district. Jessica Bucaris, who's a parent and also president of the PTA at Bungay School. She attended Bungay School as a child. Dr. Tom Nobley, who's present this evening. Dr. Nobley is the director of, I believe, elementary STEM programming at the Milford Public Schools. He's a parent of Chatfield students, and his mother-in-law served on the middle school building committee once upon a time. So he has a legacy here in town too. And yours truly served on the committee also. The committee was joined by members of the staff, as mentioned earlier, Dr. Compton, Mary Sue Feige, who is the curriculum and instructional director, Lauren Reed, principal, Bungay School, Stacy Long, Bungay School assistant principal, Allison Brett, who served as the interim assistant principal for a short time, Beth Mysteriak, who was a member of the Board of Education, Jennifer Karpovich, Bungay School teacher, Janine Weaver, Bungay School teacher, as well as members of the public, including but not limited to Andy North, who is a member of the public and a parent very interested in the renovation project. As mentioned by Becky and Tim, the discussion was extensive as to the needs of the school, and the committee has submitted its report to the board as well as the PowerPoint presentation. I would also like to mention that there's an existing prospect, as Becky mentioned, of Griffin Hospital, a project with Griffin Hospital introducing the plane tree. The plane tree concept approach to patient care that Griffin Hospital is involved in with Plane International, which is an affiliate of Griffin Hospital, but introducing new concepts into the educational network. And it's been tried a little bit at university level, and we want to try to introduce it here at the elementary level. And Becky wrote a paper about this some time ago, and we met with Pat Charmel, we met with the director of Plane Tree, and Dr. Brown from Griffin Hospital. And I think this is something that we might be able to introduce, and we might be a flagship national school in this with this concept. And I don't know, Becky wants to elaborate a little bit more.
So a couple years ago after COVID, I gotta do the microphone again. Okay. A couple years after COVID, I remember I was sitting outside at my mom's, just sitting there by myself thinking about the kids, and it changed so much. For 10 years of being in the school, the way they came in before COVID and the way they were coming in after, and they didn't want to come in. They all became, they were in their safe place. They were home. They got to learn there with their parents. They felt comfortable, and now, they're having to come back. In the beginning, they had to wear masks, and they were crying, not wanting to come in the building. And I thought to myself, God, there's got to be something that we could do better. There's got to be a better way that we can make kids want to come to school again, that we can make them want to learn, where instead of crying coming in, they run because they look forward to it. So I worked at Griffin Hospital for 20 years, and I am a big believer in their Plane Tree philosophy. Their Plane Tree philosophy is all centered on patient-centered care, patient and staff-centered care. So when you go there and you have a baby, they have a double bed so that the dad stays with the mom and doesn't have to leave because, that's his baby too. They have a celebration dinner. They have care partner rooms. So if you take care of your elderly mother, there's a separate bed for you that you could sleep there, but you could also take care of her. There's fish tanks, which for anxiety or depression, sitting and watching a fish tank is a big thing. I could go on and on, waterfalls, therapeutic settings. So I said to myself, and I met with Fred Brown, who's our district doctor and the vice president, and I'll never forget, 2 years ago, I met me at Panera and I pitched him this idea. I was like, listen, what if we take all those concepts and make them in the school setting for kids? You know, we pipe music in, Disney music when they walk in the morning so it's happy right from the start. What if we do these things and take that Plaintree philosophy and incorporate it into an elementary school setting? I think that that could be what's missing, and we can make kids want to be in school again. We can make them feel comfortable. We can, you know, there's a lot of social emotional out there right now of kids who need this to be addressed. So I said it to him and he's like, I love the idea. I love it. So he's like, it's going to be a big hill to climb, Becky. There's a lot of people you're going to have to talk to and work with. And I said, well, if you know me, you know, I like climbing those hills. So then we kept it going. I wrote a white paper on it and why I thought it was important and why I thought we'd benefit more in an elementary setting than college. You know, we have little kids now. When you talk about childhood obesity, it doesn't do you any good to talk about obesity in college level. You know, it's already a mindset, but we can address that in an educational level. We can start gardening as a curriculum in the educational level. Not only can we feed our families in Bungay School that need food, but we could teach kids how to manage and eat healthy food and enjoy it. So there were so many things that it just started this whirlwind in my mind that, you know, we presented it to Patrick recently and we presented it and everybody's really excited about it. We know it's going to be a lot of work, but we definitely believe that this could put us on the map and that Seymour can be the first school to do this. So I don't know if you wanted to hear all that, but I get really excited about it, so I apologize.
Becky is very zealous about the Plaintree concept being introduced into schools. And we're talking about a Plaintree student-centered care approach to education, which not only involves physical attributes of the building, but also the culture of the school. And I think Bungay School is the perfect school to be the flagship for this program if Griffin Hospital Plaintree decides to work with us. And Pat Shermell has already indicated that he sees some of the Plaintree concepts already being worked into the curriculum at Bungay School. And so, as stated in one of the slides, Bungay School is a great place to be because Bungay School uses the B as its civil mascot. But we need your help. The school is asking for help. The school being the students, the staff, the building itself. And so therefore, the committee strongly recommends that the Board of Select Persons appoint a school building committee to explore the renovation and expansion of the school and to develop a plan and to present a plan ultimately to the Board of Select Persons and for referendum to the townspeople. This is the time to do it. We need to do this, and at the appropriate time, I would like to make a motion.
Selectman Stanek, may I please add something? I just want to say, as a member of the committee, any of the selectmen, please reach out to superintendent if you would like to go see the school, because I, for one, don't think those pictures do any justice for the work that needs to be done. Some of it is abhorrent. And it's amazing how happy everybody is to be there because it is such a downer. Everything's pieced together and very clean, and as Mr. Connors had mentioned, well kept to the best of everyone's ability. But it is in dire need of work. And I also want to mention that if we can get the Plaintree model off the ground, which I am also a big advocate of, particularly since COVID, as Becky had mentioned, the plan would be to then include that in curriculum throughout Seymour, which I think would be just a huge benefit for our upcoming generation. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Any other selectmen?
I wanted to come out and applaud the effort that you guys, the whole staff did to put together this report, which was very enlightening. The one thing I did want to say is that, and it's not really, has nothing to do with your efforts, the efforts that you guys put together to put this together. It's how did we get to this state where this building is in, from what I've seen, disastrous for our kids. It's a disastrous state. I mean, it's not in a very good state. I mean, I know, I'm not saying you don't keep it up, but that's not the point is, if we do things over periods of time in smaller pieces, it's easier to take on than this bulk load of work that's going to really take to redo the whole building over again. And I think I'm more agitated about that. We need this. I mean, if somebody said, let's get this done tomorrow, I'm signing up. But I'm more agitated that we don't have a process that would prevent this from happening. Because this has happened with not just our schools, it happened with our WPCA, it's happened with a lot of things that we have in this town. I don't want to say we neglect, but we put aside and we Band-Aid, and we don't really put the necessary effort to keep things at a state where it's gonna, it's easier to manage, let me say it that way.
I think we might have something better in place now, and I can stand to be corrected, but we have recently transitioned from being a very reactive government to, and I'm not, there's no fault to anybody. I mean, we have to work within budgets, and things have changed incredibly, by an incredible amount over the last few decades. But the Strategic Planning Committee was put in place when Mr. Miller was first selectman, and it has really driven the town to now take a proactive approach as opposed to reactive. And we are a very old town, so prior to us having some kind of structure in place to say, we have a long-term plan now, what's everything we need to do, we could only do the best that we could, and so our infrastructure is incredibly old, as you have seen by what you've brought up. So I think going forward, we're going to be much smarter about it. The Board of Education superintendents also submitted a strategic plan for the Board of Education. So those things will be updated all the time, and I would hope that this kind of infrastructure problem that we're having as we're doing the updates will not come up again, because we now have that foresight and that mechanism to plan.
I would also add that this board that's been put together for Bungay School, I think it should be maintained as a maintenance board for all the schools, so you're doing smaller projects over the course of time versus these large infrastructure projects, so little by little we can keep up with the school, because there's generations of kids that have had to put up with that building for, right?
Yeah.
So if we kept it up, they wouldn't have had to have done that, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
I just wanted to just make one quick comment. I appreciate all the comments I've heard from my fellow select people tonight. Bob, I think you bring up a good point where it's better to address things and be proactive than wait till it reaches this kind of state. But I think a piece of what's going on here is this is what happens when budgets are not fully funded. Our Board of Ed budget has not been fully funded for a very long time, and this is what happens when you chop, chop, chop. So I think that's a big piece.
Thank you for bringing that up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I guess I'm last, but not least. I want to thank Tim and
Oh, I
Becky.
didn't go yet.
I love it. You're the last one. And Becky for that great presentation. Becky, I love your passion. You know, as a nurse, I know how you get right into there, and that plane tree model would be a wonderful thing to be able to do. When you started your presentation, you said something that, and I saw it in a slide later, but you said, what we put into this is what we get back, or what we put into them is what we get back. And I just looked around the room in here, and I'm thinking, how many people went through Seymour schools? And I'm looking, and can I have people just raise their hand if you went through Seymour schools? Because I know we have a reporter back there, we have a chief of police, we have the community, the little pantry on Skoker, finance directors, retired policemen, our attorney, and myself, that, we are pretty proud of coming out of Seymour school system. We did good. Back in the day, as you say, we didn't have air conditioning, and yes, we trudged the mile up the hill in the snow and up and down and everything else on the stone walls. But I think it's well overdue. I was fortunate when I was state representative to be able to get the funding, which was the easiest part for Chatfield LaPresti School, because all the work that you're doing, that's the hard work. And it's time to get that school updated. I haven't been up there in years. I'd love to come back up and take a look, but I think it has to be a priority for this town. So thank you again.
I agree, and Mr. Stanek and the committee, thank you. Thank you for everything you did. I know it was a lot of meetings, and, when I heard that Bungay School has not been updated since I thought it was 95, not 96, or 96, not 95. Well, it was only a year difference. I was kind of taken back. And because I remember going to the middle school graduation when my daughter was born from my niece, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like the only school. So I think in seeing the school, just from an outsider standpoint, looking at the safety, looking at environmental, looking at life safety codes, I think this is a very much needed. Not just because it's an asset of the town, but it's our children. It's our future, and it's what's going to move Seymour forward. You know, our high school was ranked one of the highest. So, what feeds our high schools are our elementary schools. What feeds our middle schools are elementary school, and I think it's time now to take that next step. So with that, I know appointments are next, but Mr. Selectman Stanek has given me names of building committee people. Should we decide to appoint a building committee? And I would like to ask this board if we would like to move forward and put together a building committee.
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor, can I have a motion?
Fred, you have a motion?
If I may make a motion, first, I move that the Board of Select Persons accept the report to the Board of Select Persons of the Bungay School Facility Needs Study Committee and appoint a school building committee to be charged with the development of a plan for the renovation and possible expansion of Bungay School.
Second.
Motion by Fred Stanek, second by Trish. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. I would like to put forward and make a motion for these following names to be put on the committee.
These, if I may, these are individuals who have expressed an interest in serving on a committee, and several are members of this committee, the assessment committee. Would you like me to make the motion?
Yeah?
I move that the Board of Select Persons appoint the following individuals to a Bungay School Building Committee. Tricia Danka, Timothy Connors, Edward Stramello, Peter Kubik, Rebecca Bennett, Dr. Thomas J. Nobley, Beth Nasteriak, Andy North, and myself.
Motion by Fred,
Second.
second by Selectman Finley. Discussion.
If I may, the appointment of the committee will be the first step. The second step would be to appropriate and set aside a sum of money for an initial architect review and initial plan. Then the third step would be, after the plan is presented, to go to referendum and seek a sum of money to build out the project.
Thank goodness we're in the start of budget season. Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries forward. Thank you all for all that you have done. We will start getting this together.
And if I may, just one more time.
Absolutely.
I would like to thank the members of the committee, the public, and the school staff for all your help and assistance in bringing this project to this point. You've done a great job. Thank you so much. It was an honor working with you.
You all should be commended. Thank you so much. On to appointments. In your packet, you'll have a list of appointments. I just want to point out one thing. You will notice that the Valley Transit, Susan Riley is on there twice, so I want to cross off the bottom one. You'll notice that the Valley Health District board members, we voted on those at our last meeting, but we only voted those for 2 years. It's a state statute for those to be for 3 years, so we added an additional year. Okay? As well as we needed to put in a zoning board of appeals alternate because there was an open spot, so we'll have to add a person on that one. So Economic Development Commission, it's an alternate, it's John Sloat, it's Republican, it's an appointed.
I just want to back up. I'm looking at the last column of dates. Are these supposed to be end of the terms, but the terms starting in 2004? Because
Yes.
I'm confused. They don't seem to match up.
So Susan Royley's in a Valley Transit District, you have 2024, should be 2026 because it's a 2-year term.
All of 24.
It says
I
3.
did it again, right? Because
You did.
I asked this a dumb question last time because
Not
I
a dumb
can't read the
question.
month.
It's all 24, all of 24.
It's all perspective.
25 and all 26.
Okay.
It's not a dumb
Well-
question.
Well, no, I just want to double take it.
No,
Well, wait,
you're doing
shouldn't-
that to me on
Well, wait a minute.
purpose. I know
Shouldn't it be
it.
12/31 then?
2 years.
Yeah.
No, I
Not
think we,
12/1, shouldn't it be
I
12/31?
think we do the
25?
reappointments on 12/1.
Yeah, you
Because that's when we
reappointed
reappoint at the beginning of the, okay, got it.
Right.
See, I picked up the second
December.
half.
Right.
Okay.
Everything resets.
All of 24
It's not
is 1 year,
12/31.
all of 25 is the
Except the
second year.
Recreation Commission, which is a 1-1 start by the charter.
Right. Okay, thank you.
But is that 3 years? Economic development?
All of 4, all of 5, all of 6.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Got it.
Right. Economic Development Commissioner alternate John Sloat, he's Republican, appointment for 3 years, starts at 1/2/2024, ends at 12/1/2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trish, second by Al. Bruno, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Valley Transit, Susan Riley, a Democrat, appointed 2 years, 1/2/24 to 12/1/2025.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Trish, second by Al, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
LEPC, we're just gonna do this one, go ahead.
You want me to go?
Yep.
Make a motion to appoint to the Local Emergency Planning Committee for 2 years from January 2nd, 2024 to December 1st, 2025. Anne Marie Dragonis, Mike Fabiano, Brian Ryan, Chris Edwards, Frank Gabbianelli, Jess Christie, Jim Baldwin, Scott Andrews, Thomas Amy, Tim Connors, and Tim Wellis.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trish, second by Pat, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain from me. Vote carry 601. Northwest Communications alternate, Chris Edwards, appointment for 2 years, starts 1/2/2024, ends 12/1/2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bob, second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Valley Health District member Marietta Sabetta, I probably just killed her name, appointment for 3 years. It's actually from,
You could do
No,
both.
she was first.
Valley Health.
We already did it. It was the duplicate.
Right.
Oh, that's the Duke.
we can do both for Marietta Sabetta and Rosalie April. Appointment for 3 years, 12/1/2024, 1/2/2024 to 12/1/2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion
But
by
that-
Trish, second by Teresa.
That's 3 years?
That's not 3 years.
They had 2 years on their previous one.
That's right,
That's
that's right.
right.
It's to fix the other one.
Got it.
Got it. Did you get a second?
Yep. I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if
Chair
I
votes
may,
aye.
I abstain.
Chair votes aye. Please note Selectman Stanik's abstention. Vote is carried 601. Paul Wedowitz, Zoning Board of Appeals alternate.
WETOWITZ.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Pat,
Second.
second by,
Me.
thank you, Bob. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay. Discussion regarding the ARP project and budget status. You had asked in one of our meetings for a update on the ARP projects. This is updated as 12/29/2023. You will see that we have 40, the ARPs on the top in the gray. Because there's somebody out there talking, that's why the door was shut. We are done, and on the middle one is what we're still waiting on, and the bottom one, those are the ones we're working on, right?
Yes, so the top section in the gray, those are projects that have been fully completed. So again, you can see in what would be the third column, the $2,055,520.34 is what was originally budgeted. We spent less than that, so we have $139,000 surplus in these accounts. The second two sections, those are just broken up as to how you folks approve those, and each one is numbered. So we will slowly work through them, and we'll keep providing updates. But to date, we were awarded $4,827,533. You have appropriated $4,905,953, so you're over appropriated by $78,000 roughly. But again, we are We have a surplus of 139,000. So we're about 61,000 to the good.
Good, right.
is what I'm saying. So as we continue to work through the second two sections, we'll keep tightening that number. I expect that $61,000 to grow in a positive fashion, so the surplus will grow. At that point, we'll come back to this board with more recommendations for future projects. But we want to make sure that we're doing that carefully, just in case things happen. We have met the requirements of ARPA. You have to have all of your money technically appropriated by a certain period of time and then spent by a certain period of time. So we're well within both of those ranges. So no issues. We actually have projects in line in the
Your
hopper.
mic is not on.
For that, my mic's not on. All right, so in conclusion, everything is just dandy. But we do have several projects in the hopper that we're working on, so I expect by springtime, probably early spring, we'll be back in front of this board with some suggestions. Are there any questions? And how often would you guys like to see this update? I wouldn't do it any more than monthly.
I would say
That might even be
quarterly.
too.
Quarterly?
Quarterly?
Quarterly's fine.
I know you said that there's a date that we're well within, but when do we have to have all the funds appropriated and spent?
I believe it has to be appropriated by 24 and spent by the end of 25.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Okay.
you.
So we'll plan every beginning of each quarter. We'll provide an update. But if you want information or just want the updated sheet, we keep this pretty updated. I can just add it to a packet or email it out to you guys at any time if you want it.
Thank you. Any questions?
How does the federal government audit us? Simply, we submit reports, or someone's going to come in and audit what we've done?
Through you, Madam First Selectwoman, once a year, in the middle of April, there is a required report that needs to be done. And then we've been told to maintain all of your documents because at some point, someone will show up and start going through. So each project has a packet. So if they come in and say, I want to see, our Project 14, I pull out the Project 14 packet, and it has everything in there.
Very good.
So,
And anything associated emails, anything that goes right into that packet, so there's just a paper trail.
yeah, and that's why we have everything numbered, to make it easier to track and when it was approved and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Great. Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the license agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation for commuter parking and public parking of motor vehicles on state land, Derby Avenue, Connecticut Route 67, and Main Street, Connecticut 115, file number 124-000-082. Turning first. Make sure the microphone's on.
I believe it's on. Thank you, Madam First Selectwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to report that the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation gave a notice of termination to 165 Main Street LLC with respect to that lease. That lease terminates January 7th. The State DOT has offered a temporary non-exclusive license agreement for that parking lot to the town of Seymour that would remain in effect until the state can put together a lease for that lot to the town of Seymour. So with that, I'm going to ask that a motion be made to authorize the First Selectwoman to enter into the temporary non-exclusive license agreement for state land at Derby Avenue, Connecticut Route 67, and Main Street, Connecticut Route 115, otherwise known as the state parking lot.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I can't repeat what you just said because I forgot the beginning part of it.
It's a motion to authorize the First Selectwoman to enter into the
Temporary
non-exclusive,
agreement,
the
non-exclusive.
temporary non-exclusive license agreement for state land at Derby Avenue, Connecticut Route 67, and Main Street, Connecticut Route 115, otherwise known as the state parking lot.
So moved.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Al. Discussion.
I have some questions.
Okay.
So we have this letter before us, and It's a temporary license agreement.
Yes.
Do we have, or have we had, a lease with the state of Connecticut?
Yes.
Up until when?
Well, I can't tell you that. You've had so many leases, it isn't funny. When this situation developed and we went back to do research, both the state as well as the town had multiple leases that have gone on literally for decades for that property. I don't have that with me, the last lease that I saw, but the state DOT had leases that town didn't have. We had leases that state DOT didn't have. I think our lease-
Just take that microphone, where's that
There it is.
microphone that Becky was using?
And make a long story short, I believe, don't hold me to this, Teresa, but from memory, I believe the last, thank you so much, the last lease expired some time ago. State DOT, as I had reported previously, moved the parking lot to rails at one point, and then moved it back to the right-of-way division, and there was some confusion there, which resulted in 165 Main Street getting this lease. Once that was cleared up, they gave a notice of termination. Starting January 8th, the town should be back in control of that parking lot for the foreseeable future.
But Teresa, I think one of the leases went back all the way to 1995.
Correct, but my concern is, nobody knows I'm concerned about this whole problem, how it ever started, because I'm still in the dark of why we're having a dispute with 165. I'm still not clear on that. We all know there's no parking downtown Seymour, although today I drove by downtown. I don't know what's going on in downtown Seymour today. There was only 2 cars in that parking lot pretty much all day.
And that lot?
In that lot. I know it got East Coast today. That might have been part of it. But I am concerned, these are leases, these are legal documents. We have Attorney General sign off on them. But yet, nobody knows when our last one ended. We should know that as a town. We should have that all in order. So I'm just saying, going forward, we need to look at what is best for the people of Seymour, and that parking down there is, and for people being commuters. But we also need to be a little bit more due diligence on our legal documents in this town, where we left that open for someone else to come in and put in for a lease. Now, when you get the lease, I'm sure you have to get bonded and insured and everything for that property. I'm sure the town does that, right?
Yeah, we have insurance and we have,
Right,
yeah.
and I'm sure 165 had to go through that. It's just concerning that we left ourselves open, and I hope there's no other areas in town that we might be subject to have this happen to. I'm gonna be voting no on it because I just haven't liked how this has been done since the beginning. I had a lot of questions. I don't know still how this parking procedure goes. I know the police do it, but there's no really, I don't know, if I wanted to go find a policy and procedure on it, who has that? Is there one such as policy and procedure written up on how we do the parking in these lots? If not, I would ask that maybe we can have that looked at and done in town.
So policy and procedure, parking in town, it's when you go get a parking permit, and I know Chief Barati is here, so you can speak up if need be.
Yeah, usually what I gathered today was that the permits cost $30 a year. They're issued from July to July. This year we issued about 75 permits. We did have a parking attendant that went through and checked for permits. There's a $25 fine for not having a permit or an expired permit. Most cases, if people were caught without a permit, they would come down and buy one, pay the $30, and we take the ticket back. So, and that's really how we've been doing it.
Right.
Majority of parking enforcement downtown is 2-hour parking.
Okay. And like you said, you found that out this morning or today. I talked to several people in town because they have no clue if they wanted to park there and take the train, what they're supposed to do. I know there's signs all up here when you pull in. Nobody can read those signs.
I
It's just not clear.
can't speak for me, Teresa, but I was using that parking lot for commuter purposes with the train 20 years ago.
No, I know it's been
not-
there.
I know it's not new, because I had to go to I did get a
Correct.
ticket, I did
Correct.
have to go to the police department and get my pass, and that,
And that's what
That
people say, I want
goes
to take
back
the
to the
train
early
down to New York to go
2000s.
see a play, and I parked there, is that legal? It's like, well, you gotta read the signs, I don't know.
It says municipal parking lot. So it says, municipal parking is to the right and private parking
Correct.
is to the left, because the Strand has always, or 165 has always owned the 12 parking spots along their building, and we've always said that
Right.
those are their 12 parking spots.
Right.
And everything from the middle to the road has always been the state's municipal parking
Mm-hmm.
lot, which the town of Seymour has always plowed, always maintained since, going back even before 1995. I think I have the map from Michael Horrible. This one's dated 2015. So we know from at least 2015, that was the last map that we've had done, where it shows that that is our parking spot, our parking
And
lot.
do you know how many spots we have? Is it 24? 18?
I can count them for you.
I know I counted them. Do you know?
26?
26? Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like an
It-
awful
it-
lot of energy we're putting into this 26.
It was
Spots.
less, okay, and when the state appropriated money for the repaving, and the reconfiguration of the lot, we picked up, probably an additional 4 to 6 spaces.
And if we are gonna be taking this lot over, I would highly recommend that you look at the parking lot's condition, because there are some areas that are in serious need of repair.
We've always had this parking lot, and the town has maintained the parking lot. It
Yep.
was, we were actually going to repave the parking lot and patch it, but we were blocked from doing that, so we couldn't do that.
There
So
was,
this has only been going on for a month or so, but I'm just saying, I walked it, and there's lots of areas that could be potential injuries for the town of Seymour.
So, and we have the insurance on it still, and we haven't canceled the insurance, so there's actually double insurance on it. But we've been taking care of that parking lot up until probably that Wednesday that I came back from CCM, when all this started, and we haven't. But now come the 8th, I mean,
And what date was that, Anne Marie, just so we're clear?
that would be November. Hold on.
I would just remind everyone.
Yeah, it was late November, right?
DOT apologized to the
29.
town.
Right.
Yeah,
They
the
made 'em-
state
they made 'em.
DOT's mess up, not the town's mess up. I know it's hard to believe the state would mess up, but,
If I may.
yep.
The long-term permitting process of that lot began back in 1982 or 1983.
Thank
There was
you.
a committee, and the Board of Selectmen then passed an ordinance beginning that process. That's been in existence for quite some time.
And can I just ask what we do with the money that we collect for the parking permits?
I think it's general revenue.
right, it's considered revenue on the police department's, revenue side of their budget. I happen to know that because they did it for 5 years, and
Thank you.
I know what the numbers are. and-
That one, yeah,
$30 gotta make you rich.
Right? Thanks.
$30
Well, no,
times
I mean,
26.
and just to the chief's point, okay, that was my approach when I found violators in that lot, and I said, look, you're gonna get a ticket, and at that time it was probably, maybe $20. And I said, look, okay, just go over and see a clerk, okay, and tell her you want a parking, permit, and they'll pull the ticket back. Very simple.
And, sometimes members at 30, from residents at 38 Columbus Street park there as well. So, and we did cover, just to get back, we did cover our, selves when we had them include the parking spot across from the Trestle Tavern. That's the 313 one. So that's included in this lease as well. So we are covered. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Can I have a motion? Vote? Can I have a vote? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes?
No.
Abstains? Motion carries 6-1. Please note, select person Teresa Conrad is no. Thank you. tax refunds and abatements in your packet. You will see the tax refunds from Christine Swanson of the Assistant Tax Collector. Please go through, make sure there are no.
Make a
Nope.
motion to accept as presented.
Motion by
Seconded.
Trish, second by Pat Lombardi. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Correspondences, there's no correspondences. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Public comment going once. Public comment going twice. Public comment 3 times. No public comment? Okay. So, first Selectwoman's report. Where'd my report go? So many newspapers. Sorry, I know, I'm trying not to shuffle so many papers around. Hold on, I do have my report.
Ask Steve if he's got a copy of the ARPA.
We'll start slowly on my Selectwoman's report. I hope everybody had a happy new year.
The ARPA.
I got it right here. The budget planning for fiscal year '25 is in full swing. Departments have turned their budgets in for fiscal year '25, and we're starting to meet with the department heads to go over their department needs. We'll be meeting with the town vendors next week. The Board of Finance has put together the department's presentation schedule, and some may remember from last year, this is where each department presents their budget to the Board of Finance. These workshops will be streamed like our Board of Select Persons meeting, as is tonight. I will also try to live stream them on Facebook. If anyone has any questions, though, the best thing to do is come to the meeting in person. This way, any questions and concerns and comments can be answered. The presentation schedule is up on the town's website. I will also be posting the meetings in the What's Happening in the 888 as well. And the first presentation starts on Monday, February 5th, and it goes until February 28th. That's the last presentations, and presentations are done on Monday and Wednesdays. March starts the deliberations. And speaking about communications, we've been looking new ways to get information out to our residents as to what's happening in town. We all know that I use Facebook a lot to get information out. I use a reverse code red for budget voting and town-wide events and concerns from flooding to snow to storms to garbage delays due to weather. We use our website a lot more as well. In the past, we had newspapers where we can put stuff in the paper, but now everything is electronically. And we have the voices, which only one side of the town gets, or you have the Waterbury Republican or the Bridgeport Post and New Haven Register. But I'm finding not a lot of people get the newspaper because everybody goes on electronically to read that. So I've been looking at how I can get my newsletter out, doing it quarterly. I am looking at it to send it out quarterly, and it's going to cost about $4,000 to do it quarterly, so it's about $16,000 a year, and that entails it going to every house in the town of Seymour. So it's about $16,000 a year. I'm going to put it into my budget this year, as well as continuing to use our website and use Facebook. I did my live with the first select woman last Thursday. We had about 82 people watching, which was good because it's just growing. I do that the last Thursday of every month, sort of give a what's happening in the town, what happened, what's going to be happening. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback for that as well. Some people may start experiencing the fire horns being blasted either the first or second Tuesday or the first and second Wednesday. That is our firehouse, Botsford, on Botsford Road. It's Great Hill Firehouse, and down here it's Citizens on DeForest. They have to manually test their fire alarms every month. And the reason for that is just in case the Northwest system, our communication system, goes down, we can use the fire alarm systems to let our firefighters know. Back in the day, the alarm meant no school, or if that alarm went off at nighttime, 7 o'clock in Shelton, you had to be home in the house with the lights, or you're in trouble. Right? You're in trouble. So if you hear the noise, that's exactly what it is, and it's mandatory that we do this. I know some people may not like it, but we have to do it to make sure that we can respond to fires in case something happens. Speaking about our fire department, I want to personally thank the Seymour Fire Department for a very successful boot drive that was held this weekend to help one of our own firefighters, Michael Russell, and his family. The boot drive was organized by members from Citizens Edge and Company Number 2. Fire Chief Chris Edwards had asked ahead of time if it'd be okay to hold one. Once the date was picked and the family was notified, everyone was asked to share this information over social media. We would also like to thank our surrounding valley fire departments, local organizations, and the community, as well as our police department, for not only donating but helping work that boot drive line. The entire valley community came together and united to help the Russell family, and with that we say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Parlene, I'm going to kill her last name, and I hate this, Parlene Cherskasvis, who is with the Surveillance and Outbreak Response Team Coordinator for the Valley Naugatuck Health, stopped by Town Hall today to drop off a few iHealth COVID tests that are available to our residents. Pauline stated the Naugatuck Valley Health has COVID tests available for all Valley residents, and they are located at 98 Bank Street if anybody wishes to pick up some COVID tests. The lights on Bank Street that have been out along there are being worked on. We're probably going to have to dig up that road, so the light should be working hopefully by summertime. But we can't dig up the road now because it's winter. So that's all I have on my report. We'll go with select woman's report. Teresa, we'll start with you this time.
Thank you.
No problem.
And I'd like to also echo about the Mike Russell family. You know, Seymour is still a small town where you put out that cry, and within minutes, they have thousands of dollars raised. And I know Seymour doesn't like to do the boot drives. It's kind of a hazard to the roads. But this is one that was truly deserved to go out there and do. So I'd like to thank all those involved. I wanted to ask where we are with hiring an assessor. I don't see it on our website, so I don't know if we have one in the works.
We are going to put the job out. We were hoping that our interim assistant to the assessor would have been able to take it on, but we're going to have to post for that.
And, all right, last month's meeting, YouTube video at 1.27.58, I requested to put on this agenda to discuss and possibly take action on the way we do our minutes. So, I am again requesting that we put on for our next meeting to discuss and take possible action on how our minutes are being done as they are currently.
Got it.
Regular meeting, you can add it to the agenda if you'd like.
We can add it to the agenda. Let's do it after select person.
If you want to do that.
Let's do it after select
Make it
person.
long.
You want to do it next time? Okay. We'll put it on for next time. Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Thank you.
Fred?
I spoke enough this evening, I think. I would simply say Happy New Year to everyone. And I also mentioned that I think that all of our chairpersons of our boards, now that the election is over, should attend a FY seminar. And I know, Anne Marie, you indicated that Tom Hennick from the FY Commission was possibly going to come down.
Yeah, for you, Madam Chair, Tom Hennig is retired, so I actually spoke with his
Oh,
boss.
that's too bad.
So we'll be putting out dates for February. I'll be going back and forth with them, trying to get something set up.
Good.
So I would expect second or third week in February, we'll have something we held in this room, and it will be open to anyone who wants to come.
And I think we should urge all board and commission members to attend, but certainly to the extent that we can order the chairperson should be present.
Agreed.
This would be after work. Night, evening? Would be an evening event?
It'd be an evening. He said he could do,
They said they can do as early as next week during the day, but I don't think that would benefit what we're looking to do. So he said February for next time.
Many years ago, Tom Hennick did an afternoon session here and an evening session. I don't know if that's possible.
I can ask, but I have a feeling that with him retiring, they may be a little short-staffed because he kind of was the expert.
He was,
The guru.
yes,
Definitely an expert.
The guru.
I don't know if he'll be easily replaced.
probably not.
No, he won't be.
And can we have that taped for people that can't make it?
And those chairmen or chairpersons who cannot make it, we should ask them to certify that they view the tape. I'm really being tough on this issue.
Well, you
And
should.
I've seen violations, not only in this town, but in another community where I represent a board. So I think it's important.
I agree. So we'll add that for the, some dates on the next one too. Go ahead. Selectman,
I have nothing further, thank you.
sorry, Selectman Bruno?
Yeah, just gonna say that Broad Street Park and our whole downtown look great this holiday season for Christmas and for the other holidays celebrated during the month of December. Seymour always does a wonderful job for its kids. We had a great visit from Santa downtown and everything. It's just a great season. We had a good month of December in this town. And I wanted to be sure to acknowledge Ms. Colleen Fries for her volunteer service to their town and area nonprofits. As Teresa was saying, she was very generous with her time as a volunteer, and that is a precious commodity. So I'm glad we had a moment of silence for her. She did a lot for the community and nonprofits. And I hope everybody had a fun Christmas season, and here's to a productive 2024 as a board, and to keep moving our town forward and really get Bungay renovated. It's just, that's amazing. So I'm glad we're moving on that. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody. And I'm going to add to your list because we haven't had an update for quite some time on Johnson Controls and the project work they did to save the town money on their energy consumption. So I'd like to know what buildings, I would just like to get a list of like what buildings they went into, where we stand with that, what are the savings that we're seeing, and or did any buildings did we have to pull out, or I just want an update because it's been quite some time.
I can just give a fast one off the cuff. The vast majority of the savings is on the Board of Education side, and I think when the Board of Ed presents their budget, if you notice the electricity costs that they have actually gone down slightly over the last couple of years, which I think we can all agree is unheard of.
All right, but we had them go into a lot of the town buildings as well.
But a lot of the things that they did in town buildings were more geared towards, fixing door jams, things like that, as opposed to
heat
large
efficiency.
scale stuff with the solar, things like that. That's really where the savings are. And again, when the Board of Ed presents their budget, I think you'll see that during Dr. Compton's presentation, the substantial savings they're seeing on that side, which is a positive. But I can get an update for the next.
If it's not the next, it's another, not saying there's a rush to this, but I know that there was a cost incurred with this, and I haven't heard anything about them giving us money back like they had promised if something didn't work out. So I'm assuming all is going well, and I just want to see if our expenditure was worth that. It seems to have been, but I just want to do a comparison for myself, so thank you. That is all I have.
Yep, just a happy new year to the town, and I do want to thank Fred for bringing up the school committee, the needs study committee board. I know you originally started that a few months back, and I do appreciate that you recognize the need for that, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bungay School Facility Needs Committee members, thank you very much for your presentation, for your time and effort into going to the meetings, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
One thing, Kurt, before I forget, also scheduled for January for the next meeting in January, department heads. We have to start with the department head updates again. I know we're heading into budget season, but
Is there a preference as to who the board would like to see?
name department.
First?
Huh?
Who we'd like to see first?
Yes.
Who would you like to see first?
I like seeing everybody, so don't look at me.
What have we heard from in a long, long time?
Yeah, I was just going to say we need to.
Who's been,
How about land use?
I think we had land use recently, didn't we?
Okay.
I would take a look at that. I would recommend we have the person and department we haven't heard from in a while,
Yeah.
and go and whoever that is, Kurt.
We just heard from Tim Connors tonight.
Yeah, and go back and look at the minutes and try to figure out what the last report, I think we
Yeah.
had HR. and
Maybe we
Land
can
Use
get a
Research.
schedule for the rest of the meetings
Yeah.
this
Yeah, I was
year
gonna say
for
you should
different
just, like,
departments, so that they're slotted
Feed
in.
them in,
It was HR and
Luckman.
Tim,
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, Tim did his.
yeah, we have our budget summit next Wednesday, so I'll inform them if they're, pending pencil.
Yep.
Not a problem.
Tell them to bring their strap in. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by
Second.
Trish, second by Pat, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. 7-0, thank you.
That was a plug for you.
That was good. I was like, damn, why didn't you say